Today, I'll be looking at why this alarming retirement savings statistic isn't really as scary as it sounds. One of the most anxiety inducing headlines is that only about 6% of people have over $500,000 saved for retirement. My name is Justin Buttrick. I'm a certified financial planner and the founder of Vision Wealth Advisors, a financial planning firm in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, where I've helped hundreds of clients retire. And in doing that, I've discovered why these attention grabbing savings headlines don't really tell the whole story about retirement readiness. And that's exactly why I'm making this video for you today, to show you why having less than $500,000 saved may not be the big retirement crisis that many people think it is. Let's dive right into it. So what makes people panic about their retirement savings amount? Well, according to a recent study from Yahoo Finance, only about 6% of Americans aged 55 to 64 have over $500,000 saved in their 401k or in other retirement savings vehicles. It doesn't just have to be 401k. But most people are paralyzed focusing on these big account numbers instead of what they actually need. I can tell you from experience, I have many clients that have retired on less than 500,000. So you definitely don't need to hit that arbitrary number to be able to have a secure retirement. There's a lot of people living in constant anxiety, thinking that they're falling short of these arbitrary savings numbers, when in reality, they just need some guidance and some assurance on how much they can spend, how long their portfolio will last, not that they necessarily need to have an X amount saved up. So that can be very, very misleading. There's also a belief out there that you have to be a millionaire to retire, or you have to be a multimillionaire to retire. And I've heard that endlessly in over a decade of financial planning. I've had many clients come to me thinking that they couldn't retire because they didn't hit a certain amount. I've had people who, if they have 500,000, they think they need 1 million. If they have 1 million, they think they need 2 million. If they have 2 million, they think they need more, so on and so forth. So it's kind of interesting that no matter what asset level people have, they usually think that they need something either 50% or 100% more than what they actually have. But in reality, that's just a big myth. Traditional advice is great, but a lot of it will make people feel like they're always falling behind, like they always are falling short, they don't have enough saved, and then that retirement happiness and readiness depends entirely on them hitting some kind of arbitrary savings goal, whether it's 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, so on and so forth. But each of these beliefs, I find, creates a lot of unnecessary headaches and a lot of anxiety. And here's what this can lead to. People will make bad retirement decisions based purely on their account size rather than what they actually need. Or they might, even worse, they'll delay retirement for quite a few years thinking that they need to hit a certain savings number. And I've dealt with that before. I might make a whole separate video on that. But they'll also miss out on some prime retirement years just because they misunderstood how much that they had to have, or that they could have retired earlier. So, and I think this is especially important, especially as you get into your late 50s, early 60s. I find a lot of my clients will feel like they don't have as much time to enjoy themselves, obviously, as when they were younger. And time is a big factor to them. It's really important. So being able to save a couple years of time and being able to retire earlier than having to work a few years extra when you really didn't have to, I find that is invaluable. That's part of the reason of me making this video and sharing this information. I don't want you to lose years and lose time that you didn't have to because you thought you had to hit a certain retirement number. I'm here to tell you that there is no perfect retirement number. It just does not exist. Same with there's no perfect investment portfolio either. Neither of those exist. It's all about your personal spending, your personal savings habits, what things you want to do in your retirement. There is no perfect number for everybody. You could really compare this with fitness or with weight loss, right? You could go on the internet and find all kinds of different weight loss plans, different diets. Should you be on the keto diet? Should you be on the carnivore diet? Should you be on this? But it really all depends on what you can follow and what's going to be best for you. Maybe somebody else needs to take a different approach. Maybe you need to take a different approach than what's generally recommended. It really all comes down to individualizing it, personalizing and tailoring things for you. And it's really no different with retirement planning. I find it gets frustrating because traditional retirement calculators and advice will push everyone towards the same arbitrary goal. Like I talked about before, you have to have 1 million. You have to save X amount by X amount of date. If you don't have X amount saved by 50 or 55, you're in trouble. And people will internalize this and get a lot of this anxiety, and it can be really self-defeating. Real retirement success depends on understanding your personal spending needs. And it's also based on, again, it's based on your lifestyle, not someone else's formula. Okay, so now that you've seen why focusing on an arbitrary retirement savings number can be very misleading, let's take a look at a real life example of somebody who retired without having $500,000 saved. So for this section, we'll use a client of mine who was 61 at the time. And the challenges that they were facing was they believed that 500,000 was the bare minimum needed for retirement. I'm not sure exactly where they got that from. It's a belief that was firmly implanted nonetheless. They were following generic calculator recommendations that showed unrealistic targets, and they had a lot of anxiety, even though they had about close to 400,000, which for their situation was enough. And what did their situation look like? Well, they had about 3,800 in monthly expenses, including healthcare. They had a paid off home worth about $300,000. They also had a pension and Social Security that covered just about 100% of their month to month spending needs. So they didn't even really have to dip into their investment savings or their portfolio at all unless they wanted to do something that they didn't normally do, like travel, go on a trip, give a gift. And once we actually crunched those numbers and we got a personalized plan for them together, we were able to show them that. And it was one of those traditional light bulb moments, right? You could see the light bulb go off. You could see the relief just wash over them when they realized they didn't have to work an extra 2 to 3 years and hit this magic number, that they could retire now. So they were able to retire within the next 6 months instead of waiting an extra 2 to 3, or who knows how long they would have eventually waited without advice. So being able to do something like that, being able to save the precious years of time, is priceless. Now that you've seen why this saving statistic isn't really as alarming as it seems, what energizes me most in my practice is how often I can see people create these successful retirements, regardless of where they're at, what number they think they need to be at. And through years of retirement planning, I've discovered that a comfortable retirement isn't really about matching an arbitrary savings percentage. It's about building the right strategy around what you have and tailoring it to you. And there's plenty of, quote, rules that can be broken, or some rules that don't apply at all. And I think the most fulfilling part of my work is showing people how they can create a secure retirement, even if they think their savings fall short. So if you want more personalized help, or you want to optimize your retirement plan, I'm going to put a link below. Just go ahead, click on the link. There's a free questionnaire, no obligation. Once you complete it, I'll send you a personalized video with my thoughts and give you a little bit of actionable advice to move forward. If I can help, just let me know. Happy to do it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.